price of your greed is your son and your daughter. What you gonna do when there's blood in the water? Look me in my eyes, tell me everything's not fine. Well, the people ain't happy, and the river has run dry. You thought you could go free, but the system is done for. If you listen real closely, there's a knock at your front door.
What is this, you may ask? This is what comes out of our taps in Backhaven, Camps Bay, Cape Town, South Africa.
After just a year of the ANC-UDM coalition of corruption there, and how backward that city has gone, and we sincerely are regretful that the same is going to happen in Joburg. But what we will be doing is presenting the voters of Johannesburg in 2021 with a binary choice between a party that is committed to good governance and delivery and lifting people out of poverty.
Admit you were toxic, you poisoned me just for another dollar in your pocket. Now I am the violence, I am the sickness, won't accept your silence, beg me for forgiveness, we'll never get free, land to the slaughter. What you gonna do when there's blood in the water? The price of your greed, your son and your daughter. What you gonna do when there's blood in the water?
What follows is a telephone call from the City of Cape Town, Monique Isaacs, who's the Senior Environmental Health Western Area 1. I've had many problems with water, with dirt, with filth, with asbestos, with sewage, and I've kind of like reached the end of my tether, which you actually might hear on what follows. And don't you just love that city logo, making progress possible together? There is no progress they want to make together. They do whatever they want for themselves. Okay, so now my question or my statement to you is when Chris and the water inspector came to my property, what happened to the brown water? I asked them to be tested with Nicola Jowl, my councillor, and that email that I sent, and I asked the water inspector that was here with Chris that day, I asked for it to be inspected. Or tested. So what were the test results of that day?
Ma'am, I've just received, after today, it's the first I've seen this.
Okay.
And so we've been instructed to take samples and it's going to test it by our lab to see what the problem is.
Okay, I'm quite happy with the EMU UCT testing. They are a very well respected testing laboratory. And but you know, and I don't trust the City of Cape Town. Not you, darling. I'm not saying you're not trustworthy, but I don't trust them because I've had various inspections and forensic audits and things like that on documents with the planning department and the land use management, and documents have been forged. There's corruption at the City of Cape Town. So forgive me. It's just that I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, no, I understand, ma'am, but we are all different departments.
I understand. Yes. Well, okay.
We work a different way.
No, I understand.
Like I said, I've just received this.
Yeah.
And I had no knowledge of it prior to even today.
Okay.
When I received the email.
Okay.
But if you insist on us not taking the samples, then
it's just that I don't. It's just that I don't trust you, you know, and it's the same with evaluation appeal. They gave me the same story, that it's a different department, but the fact is you have the same mayor, you have the same DA councillor, you have the same Helen Ziller, you have the same leader that controls the City of Cape Town. And forgive me, you know, I've had so many conflicting reports on what date the sewage spill was in this one instance in December. And, you know, it's just, I asked for this to be tested by you. Not by you, sweetheart, but I mean by the City of Cape Town.
I saw for the email trail.
You know, it isn't my, I don't want to fall out with anybody. I don't want to go to court. But, you know, I've been through one court matter where the city lied under oath. Not just one department, but 3 different departments. You know, and also I went through different PIA applications and things were forged. You know, even after when I went to a 2nd and 3rd and 4th PIA application. So please understand, you know, if the city legal department and the city then Mayor Patricia DeLille and Helen Ziller, you know, were absolutely putting in writing there was no fraud and corruption when I've proved beyond reasonable doubt there is, you have to understand how nervous I am. And this water quality is very important. And I've also... you know, and I'm making a film about it, and I've also been down to Milnerton, and I've interviewed people there. And why Councillor Jowl is writing to me about the beach on Backoven signage when this was in my municipal drinking water, it just shows she doesn't read it with any understanding. You know, because I wasn't talking about the beach, I'm talking about my own municipal water. You know...
Statement. I had a case like this a few months ago where we also went out and did the test. We received the test results and things were taken further and it's now sorted out.
Okay. And look, I know you've got problems. Look, can I tell you what my feeling is? Just putting it out there. Is that we live in Backoven, okay, and they've got these massive developments. Before we continue, let's just go back a bit to 2018. On the 29th of May 2018, I'd actually had it. The sewage was continually blocked in Victoria Road and allegedly pumping back into Wayne Coughlin's Earth 53. This was caused by builder's sand. On the 13th of June 2018, Sekiwo Nachela wrote to Peter Curl, myself, and various officials. You can see Errol Anstey and Matthew Kempthorne also copied in, who did absolutely nothing from the DA. It says, "Dear all, we currently cleaning the main sewer pipeline in Victoria Road, and unfortunately we were unable to schedule work for during the day because the road is very busy. It is the link between Hout Bay, Camps Bay and surrounding areas. If we have to clean during the day, it will cause a major inconvenience because we will be forced to close one lane and implement stops and go system. We recently experienced sewage spillages when it's raining, whereby 16 Victoria, Wayne Coughlin's property, Earth 53. We want to make sure that the main sewer pipeline is clean, and we will be doing CCTV inspection to check out the condition of this pipeline. We are investigating the allegations of sand being dumped into sewer pipeline, and I've copied Water Pollution Control in this email, so that if it found to be true, then they will have to deal with those contravening the municipal bylaws. Regards, Sikiwo." Now, I've heard nothing about anything that happened. Nobody has the decency to inform any of the neighbours where else this sewage had spilled or what is really going on, because I interviewed the guys who were working one of the nights, and this is what follows. What's the problem? I just want to know, because we want to go to bed. What's the problem?
That house there.
Which house?
The new house.
Not this one, the one there.
Yeah, the one.
Coughlin, Wayne Coughlin.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
The water is overflowing into that yard, the sewage water. Now we are cleaning the line so
Okay.
that the line is...
But why is that happening, do you know?
It's because the line is dirty.
Is it from the building works?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's full of sand and stuff.
I keep telling the council, these builders don't cover their sand.
Yes. They just leave it and it's going into
It's
the...
terrible. And you know what? That new house,
Yeah.
he was responsible. He was also leaving all his sand uncovered. You know what? God works in mysterious ways. I'm glad it's going into his house. infrastructure. You can't squeeze any more poo into a pipe that's been made for 9, fishermen's cottages. It's just ridiculous. So I understand that it's a strain, and I understand, and this isn't a personal against any person. The guys who came from water, particularly Chris, was divine, as was Ahmed, personally. Okay, quickly, just to dip out of that phone call again. I had a burst geyser valve that was caused by silica from Mr. Bradbury's, my neighbour, Earth 58, who was grinding a vibrecrete portion of the wall and creating copious amounts of dust. So I called the plumber out because our water got cut off. And apparently it was cut off because we lost 10,000 litres of water. The plumber's report states, a call out from client. Burst water main found on inspection. Discovered dirt got in the valve, which caused a bypass. Client called municipality as well to check water meter. Municipality claims 10,000 litres of water flushed out in 24 hours. There had been a digital water meter installed prior to the valve bypass. The digital meter does not allow more than 350 litres of water per day to be used, so impossible that 10,000 litres of water was used. Plumber has installed new PLV and strainer to avoid further bypass. The city just basically ignore everything until you have another burst. I mean, it's just crazy. They just don't care. So after 6 months, exhausted by complaining that my water bills were extortionate, and that water, we just weren't using the amount of water the city were charging me for, they finally changed the old faulty meter on the 9th of August 2018. The faulty one is to the left and the new one is to the right. On the 30th of September 2019, I was actually away in Soweto, staying in Johannesburg, and my neighbours very kindly were frantically phoning me to tell me there was loads of water pouring out of my meter on Beta Road. My neighbours, on behalf of me and myself from Soweto, which there wasn't a lot of great phone reception there, couldn't get hold of the council. Basically, it was just a computer voice saying dial 1 for this, 2 for this, 3 for that, 4 for this. I'd lost count how many numbers there were, but nothing ever materialised. I left a message and I SMS, but nothing came from the city. So I managed to get a hold of my plumber, and he came as soon as he could and stopped the water pouring, and then he came back on the 3rd of October and notified me that the city meter and the city who had moved the meter had basically fixed a non-compliant pipe connecting my property to the meter. Then on the 10th of October 2019, after more exhausting emails from the city, just trying to get an answer from anybody, desperately emailing as many people as I could, copying in as many people as I could, the city actually turned up to assess the situation and agreed that there was a non-compliant pipe that was leaking, that had been leaking since it had been installed in 2018. And this is what happened when Ahmed from the city had been out to assess the situation and was beginning to start work, and this is the voice recording. Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
New development.
Yes.
I want to explain something to you on the system, because I want to take that information of you that you said you paid for the plumber and the stuff that you fixed and so on.
Right.
I can record it on a liability claim form,
Okay.
and the liability people staff will contact you and take it further. If
Okay,
there's
great.
any claim that you're claiming.
Okay, is there any way that I can
anything, so-
email you, because I'm right in the middle with something with the
Yes.
cops at the moment.
Okay.
So
you can email me.
is that
not a
possible?
problem.
What's your email?
I think I've got your email address on the email.
Oh, brilliant! Will you email to me?
Also, what's going to happen now?
Did you have a look? Did you see that it was all a bit?
Yes, it was a quite big email that I saw this morning. That's why I came as soon as I could.
No. We're got
So-
our complaints are not with you. You have to understand that. And the only reason we're recording it is because of the past. As was Ahmed. You know, personally, they couldn't have been more charming. But the fact is, it's not satisfactory. And I'm not sure whether they're being gagged or whether, you know, like Ahmed said, it's just such a big city. You know, and I mean, my water, I've lost so much water and been charged for so much water that's not my fault. But I still haven't even had a liability form. Now, really, months later, that's not fair.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry I had to wait so long.
No, it's not your fault personally, okay?
No, I understand.
It's the city.
Can I just maybe send an email so we have it on writing that I did contact you as to request a time and date for availability so we can take the samples. And you said you are quite happy with the samples and your sample results that you obtained from UCT.
What I said to you was, I'm very happy with the water sample that UCT will test. Okay, I didn't say I'd had it already tested.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. Okay, so
It's an absolute. It's fine. No, it's. But you've got to be very careful with me how you word things. Okay. So I've got my.
That's why I asked you again.
Yeah.
To make sure that I understood
Correct.
correctly.
So I have got the sample, and I will get it tested. But I want to see the samples that you've had tested on the 11th of December. Okay.
I never did a test, ma'am, so
Oh, shame.
I have no idea. Like I said, this is the first time I've heard of it.
And I put it in writing, and I asked the water inspector for a test, and they didn't test it. I can't believe it.
This is,
It's not your fault.
I haven't done any tests, so
Okay.
I do not have any results for you.
So have you not tested any of the milky water that I've been sending the city asking for tests either?
Ma'am, I haven't received these emails.
Oh, no.
I was not informed. We only received the email today, and I contacted our lab to see if they are available on Wednesday, and they said I can bring in the samples.
Oh,
That's why
no.
I'm contacting you to see whether you will be available, if there's a time that suits you, that I can come take the samples, and then the lab will test.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I will then take it and get it tested. But you know, and let me tell you, what came out of my taps stank, right? It smelled. And, you know, in the very same smell when I came home last night from the it really stank of sewage. And also in the front of my garden, it stinks of sewage. Now, it's not every day, but it's getting more frequent. Do you know what I'm saying? But the fact is, you can't see it in the water until it settles. And then one of my pipe bursts. I had literally a bidet put into the house about a year, just over a year before, and all the pipes were blocked with this, whatever it is, this like yellowy granule thing, like the photograph I sent you. I don't know what it is. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't know. That's why I wanted to take
Wow.
so the people can do the testing and we can analyze what the problem is.
You know what? I'm absolutely shocked that I have sent all the photographs. I mean, it's like granules. And we've been sick, hey? And so's this old lady across the road.
So,
What I'm going to do is...
help you with this.
But why can I not go to UCT
No, you can.
and do the samples, and then I'll give you what the analysis is?
You can do that, ma'am. You can take your own samples, and we can also sample from the same tap and everything like you did, and we can take it to our lab as well.
Okay, it's not a tap. It came from my tap, but it's actually in a glass. It's in a glass. It's exactly the same one that I photographed, that I sent you. All of the glasses are exactly the same, and I keep them in a lock cupboard with the pipes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll get it sampled, and then once I've got the test, then I can give you my water, my samples as well, my report. Sorry, from UCT,
Okay.
and then what I'll do is give you their reports, and I'll leave the samples with them. I mean, you know, UCT are very trustworthy.
I can say our lab is also very trustworthy.
I know, but I don't trust the city. I'm sorry, darling, I don't. They lied under oath, sweetheart. They've lied under oath. Cost me a lot of money, okay, and it's cost a lot of time in police investigation. So, and as I say, this isn't personal towards you or Ahmed or, Chris or anybody who's come from the city. But, I just don't trust the way the city runs, and I don't trust the leadership. Not your fault.
So maybe I will just send an email just confirming what we've discussed right now. But if you do change your mind,
I won't change my mind, honey. I won't. And also, please, will you put in the email that you did not test the water?
no, I'll definitely, because I did make arrangements with Mrs. Gabor from the scientific lab, sorry.
Yeah.
So I will copy her in so that they also know that there's no samples that's going to be.
And just please repeat what you'd said when you email me, that you've never tested any of my water. Okay, when I've had burst pipes or problems, because I specifically asked my councillor and the city water, who never respond to me, by the way, they never reply to my emails. I specifically asked for it all to be tested, and the fact it hasn't been tested has shocked me, because I just assumed you would give me the results of the tests, and then I would take those results and then go to the lab. Wow. It's not your fault.
It's the first that we've received this.
Well, then my councillor has a lot to answer for. And so do the city, whoever controls the water place there. Anyway, thank you very much for calling me. I really appreciate it. And
No problem.
and I'm not doing this to be difficult or anything. The fact is, it's important for all of us.
I agree with you.
And we all want clean water, and we all understand you guys have a hell of a lot to do with not very much money. We understand that. So then, on the 20th of January 2020, I got an email from Monique Isaacs. She states, as discussed, the reason for the telephonic conversation was to arrange a date and time suitable for you in order for City Health to take water samples, which would have been submitted to the City of Cape Town's scientific laboratory for testing. You have indicated that you are happy to rather submit your water samples to UCT for testing. Look, I've just played you some of the conversation we had. Clearly, that is not what I said, and really the misrepresentation from each department to the other is very wrong, because this is in writing, and this is exactly what gets put before a court if you go to court. And not most people are not as meticulous as I am. And thankfully, a lot of the elderly people who live here are also very meticulous. And they've been very kind in sharing information for the good of all of us.
So tell me about Team South Africa here. You mentioned Cheryl Sandberg. Yeah. She's taken over the museum, the Kirshner Museum, where South Africa used to be. It's Davos Light for South Africa this year. In previous years, you've trotted out ministers, you've trotted out South African delegates. Has there been much CNN interest in South Africa this year?
I think South Africa is here. They've tried to put scarves around my neck on numerous occasions. They've tried to interest me in discussing things, but it's not got the same profile as it has in previous years. And that might be economic. They just don't feel they can afford to spend the money to come here and do it. It might arguably be they just don't see the need to do it. But at the end of the day, there's no point in coming here to say, invest in me, if you haven't got the policies worthy of it.
Well, 2 years ago, Cyril Ramaphosa came as the delegation leader, and it was a little bit like having Nelson Mandela back here again. Everybody wanted to touch his cloak. Yeah, but it's not like that
2
anymore.
years ago. Well, since then, we've discovered just how awful the state-owned capture was of enterprises. Now, this is one of those few subjects where Pravin Gordhan says, if you think it was bad, I'm telling you it was worse. Now, you tell me how anybody who for the last 5 years, 10 years, has come here and said, South Africa's going really well, we've got everything under control, we've got this, that and the other, suddenly turned around and said, well, actually, the entire economy was hijacked, by the way. And we're terribly sorry to tell you that the losses are in the billions. Well, actually, we really don't know the trillions. And by the way, even if it was bad, it was worse. And we're not even sure we've dealt with it.
And so, in order to be taken seriously here again, we really need a big fat broom and some chains and some prison time.
Well, how many people have gone to prison so far?